on the shores of Britain, bringing with them their language, culture, and traditions. Among these traditions was a rich oral poetic heritage. The Anglo-Saxons used poetry to celebrate their heroes, recount their history, and explore the mysteries of life and death. Their earliest poems were likely transmitted orally. These poems served various purposes, from praising warriors to invoking magic. Unfortunately, much of this early poetry has been lost to time. The conversion of England to Christianity in the 7th century marked a turning point. The arrival of Christianity brought with it the Latin language and the influence of classical literature. However, the Anglo-Saxons did not abandon their native tongue or their love of poetry. Instead, they began to adapt their poetic forms and traditions to express their newfound faith. One of the earliest and most significant figures in this new Christian tradition was Caedmon. Bede, a monk and historian, tells the story of Caedmon in his ecclesiastical history of the English people. According to Bede, Caedmon was an illiterate cowherd who received a divine vision. This vision inspired him to compose a hymn praising God's creation. This hymn, known as Caedmon's Hymn, is the earliest surviving poem in the English language. With Caedmon's Hymn, a new chapter in English literature began. The Anglo-Saxons began to record their poems in writing. This ensured their preservation for future generations. These written poems provide a window into the beliefs, values, and worldviews of the Anglo-Saxon people. They offer a glimpse into a world of heroes and monsters, of battles and banquets, of faith and doubt. These poems, though written centuries ago, still resonate with readers today. They speak to universal human experiences of love, loss, courage, and the search for meaning in a changing world. Anglo-Saxon poetry, also known as Old English poetry, developed a distinctive style. This style set it apart from the poetry of other cultures. One of the defining features of Old English poetry is its use of alliterative verse. This form of verse relies on the repetition of consonant sounds at the beginning of words. A typical line of alliterative verse consists of two halves. These halves are separated by a pause known as a caesura. Each half line usually contains two stressed syllables. Two of the stressed syllables, one in each half, begin with the same consonant sound. This creates a sense of rhythm and emphasis. In addition to alliteration, Old English poetry makes extensive use of kennings. Kennings are metaphorical compound words or phrases. These kennings create vivid and evocative images in the reader's mind. For example, the sea might be referred to as the Whale Road or the Swan's Way. These kennings reflect the Anglo-Saxons' close relationship with nature. They also demonstrate their skill in using language creatively. Another important feature of Old English poetry is its use of variation. Variation involves repeating an idea or concept using different words or phrases. This technique adds depth and complexity to the poem's meaning. It also allows the poet to explore a single idea from multiple perspectives. The language of Old English poetry can be challenging for modern readers. Many of the words are unfamiliar. The syntax or word order is also different from modern English. However, with a little effort, the beauty and power of this ancient poetry can be unlocked. The poems offer a glimpse into the minds and hearts of the Anglo-Saxons. They reveal a people who were deeply connected to their history, their culture, and the natural world. The survival of Anglo-Saxon poetry is a testament to the dedication of scribes. These scribes painstakingly copied these works by hand. They preserved them for future generations. Most of the surviving Old English poetry is found in 4 major manuscripts: the Beowulf manuscript, the Exeter book, the Junius manuscript, and the Vercelli book. The Beowulf manuscript, housed in the British Library, is perhaps the most famous of the 4. It contains the epic poem Beowulf, a cornerstone of English literature. This manuscript also includes other important works such as the poem Judith and 3 prose tracts. The Exeter book, held in Exeter Cathedral, is a diverse collection of poetry. This collection includes elegies, riddles, and religious narratives. Among its treasures are the enigmatic wanderer and the haunting seafarer. These poems explore themes of loss, exile, and the search for meaning in a changing world. The Junius Manuscript, located in the Bodleian Library at Oxford University, is also known as the Cadman Manuscript. It contains biblical paraphrases. These paraphrases retell stories from the Bible in the poetic style of Old English literature. These retellings demonstrate the influence of Christianity on Anglo-Saxon culture. The Vercelli book, named for the Italian city where it was discovered, is a fascinating mix of prose and verse. It includes saints' lives, religious poems, and prose homilies. The Vercelli book's journey from England to Italy remains a mystery. However, its presence in Vercelli underscores the far-reaching influence of Anglo-Saxon culture. These 4 manuscripts represent a fraction of the literature produced during the Anglo-Saxon period. Many other poems and prose works have been lost over time. However, these surviving manuscripts provide invaluable insights into the literature, language, and culture of early England. Dating Old English poems is a complex and often frustrating task for scholars. Unlike modern books, which typically include a publication date, Anglo-Saxon manuscripts rarely provide such clear-cut information. The absence of dates on these manuscripts makes it difficult to establish a precise chronology of Old English literature. Scholars rely on a variety of methods to estimate the dates of these poems. These methods include paleography, linguistic analysis, and historical context. Paleography involves analyzing the handwriting style used in the manuscripts. Different handwriting styles were prevalent during different periods. By comparing the handwriting in a particular manuscript to dated samples, scholars can make educated guesses about when the manuscript was written. However, this method provides a range of dates rather than a definitive year. Scribes may have continued to use older handwriting styles even as newer ones emerged. This inconsistency introduces an element of uncertainty. Linguistic analysis focuses on the language used in the poems. The English language, like all languages, evolved over time. Old English, the language spoken and written during the Anglo-Saxon period, underwent significant changes between the 5th and 11th centuries. By examining the vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation used in a particular poem, scholars can get a sense of when it might have been written. However, language change is not always a linear process. Regional variations and the persistence of older forms can complicate the dating process. Historical context can also provide clues about the dates of Old English poems. Some poems refer to historical events. These references can provide a terminus post quem or earliest possible date for the poem's composition. For example, the Battle of Brunanburh commemorates a battle that took place in 937 AD. This poem cannot have been written before that date. However, poems were often composed or revised long after the events they describe. This delay between event and composition can make it challenging to pinpoint a precise date. Despite these challenges, scholars have made significant progress in dating Old English poems. Through careful analysis and comparison, they have been able to establish approximate dates for many of these works. These dates help to contextualize the poems. They allow scholars to trace the development of Old English literature over time. However, the exact dates of many Old English poems remain uncertain. This uncertainty adds to the allure of these works. It invites continued scholarly debate and interpretation. Section 5. Voices of Faith, Religious Poetry in Anglo-Saxon England. The arrival of Christianity in Anglo-Saxon England in the 6th century had a profound impact on its literary landscape. The new religion brought with it new stories, new beliefs, and new ways of seeing the world. Anglo-Saxon poets, inspired by these new ideas, began to adapt their traditional poetic forms to express their newfound faith. This fusion of pagan and Christian elements created a rich and distinctive body of religious poetry. One of the most important figures in the development of Anglo-Saxon religious poetry was Caedmon. Bede, in his Ecclesiastical History of the English People, describes Caedmon as an illiterate cowherd who received a divine vision. This vision inspired him to compose hymns in praise of God. Caedmon's hymn is the earliest surviving example of Old English Christian poetry. It is a powerful testament to the transformative power of faith. Another significant religious poet was Beowulf. Unlike Caedmon, whose life is shrouded in legend, we know a bit more about Beowulf. He is the only Anglo-Saxon poet whose name appears within his works. He cleverly wove his name in runes, the letters of the Anglo-Saxon alphabet, into the text of his poems. Beowulf's most famous works include Elene Juliana, Christ II, also known as the Ascension, and the Fates of the Apostles. These poems combine biblical narratives with elements of Anglo-Saxon heroic tradition. They create a unique blend of the familiar and the exotic. Anglo-Saxon religious poetry was not limited to biblical paraphrases and saints' lives. Poets also explored theological themes such as the nature of good and evil, the struggle for salvation, and the transience of earthly life. The poem The Dream of the Rood is a powerful example of this type of religious poetry. In this poem, the dreamer encounters a talking cross. This cross describes its role in Christ's crucifixion. The poem is a moving meditation on the meaning of sacrifice and redemption. The development of Anglo-Saxon religious poetry was a significant moment in the history of English literature. These poems introduced new themes, new forms, and new ways of using language. They paved the way for the development of later medieval religious literature. These poems also provide valuable insights into the religious beliefs and practices of the Anglo-Saxons. They reveal a people grappling with the challenges of faith in a changing world. Section 6. Songs of Loss and Longing, the Elegiac Tradition. Amidst the tales of heroic deeds and the pronouncements of faith, Anglo-Saxon poetry also gives voice to a profound sense of loss and longing. These themes are central to the Elegiac Tradition, a genre of poetry that mourns the passing of something precious, whether it be a loved one, a way of life, or even the fleeting nature of youth and happiness. These poems resonate with a universal human experience, the feeling of being alone in a changing and often hostile world. One of the most famous examples of an Anglo-Saxon elegy is The Wanderer. This poem, found in the Exeter Book, tells the story of a solitary exile. This exile has lost his lord, his companions, and his home. He wanders the icy wastes, haunted by memories of better days. The poem is a poignant reflection on the themes of loss, displacement, and the search for belonging. Another well-known elegy is The Seafarer. Like The Wanderer, this poem also deals with themes of isolation and exile. However, in this case, the speaker is a sailor who has chosen a life of solitude on the open sea. He describes the hardships he has endured, the biting wind, the crashing waves, the loneliness of being far from home, yet he also finds a strange solace in the vastness of the ocean and the challenges it presents. While The Wanderer and The Seafarer are perhaps the best-known examples of Anglo-Saxon elegies, many other poems in this tradition explore similar themes. The Wife's Lament tells the story of a woman who has been separated from her husband and forced to live in isolation. The husband's message presents a counterpart to the Wife's Lament, with a man sending a message of love and longing to his absent wife. These poems offer a glimpse into the emotional lives of the Anglo-Saxons. They reveal a people who were deeply affected by the uncertainties and hardships of their time. Anglo-Saxon elegies are characterized by their somber tone, their vivid imagery, and their exploration of universal human experiences. They offer a powerful testament to the enduring power of loss and longing to shape the human experience. Section 7. Heroes and Monsters, exploring the heroic ideal. The world of Anglo-Saxon England was one of constant struggle. Tribes fought for land and power. Individuals faced the ever-present threats of disease, famine, and violence. In this harsh environment, the heroic ideal held a powerful appeal. Heroes embodied the qualities most admired in Anglo-Saxon society: strength, courage, loyalty, and a willingness to face any challenge, no matter how daunting. The literature of this period, particularly its heroic poetry, provides a window into this world. It explores the nature of heroism and its role in shaping the Anglo-Saxon worldview. The most famous example of Anglo-Saxon heroic poetry is, of course, Beowulf. This epic poem tells the story of a legendary Geatish warrior named Beowulf. Beowulf travels to the land of the Danes to defeat the monstrous Grendel, who has been terrorizing the Hall of Heorot. Beowulf's battles with Grendel, Grendel's mother, and ultimately a fearsome dragon test his strength, courage, and loyalty to his king and his people. Beowulf is more than just a monster-slaying adventure story. It is a complex and nuanced exploration of the heroic ideal. Beowulf is not simply a mindless brute. He is a thoughtful and introspective character who grapples with the burdens of leadership and the inevitability of death. The poem also explores the darker side of heroism, such as the desire for glory and the potential for violence to beget more violence. While Beowulf is the most famous example of Anglo-Saxon heroic poetry, it is not the only one. The poem, The Battle of Maldon, commemorates a real historical battle that took place in 991 AD. In this battle, an outnumbered force of Anglo-Saxons fought bravely against Viking raiders. Although the Anglo-Saxons ultimately lost the battle, their courage and determination in the face of overwhelming odds made them heroes in the eyes of their people. Anglo-Saxon heroic poetry, with its tales of bravery, loyalty, and superhuman feats, served several important functions. It provided entertainment, of course, allowing people to escape from the harsh realities of their daily lives. It also reinforced the values and beliefs that were central to Anglo-Saxon culture. By celebrating the deeds of heroes, these poems reminded people of the qualities that were most important in their society. They provided role models for young warriors to emulate. The heroic ideal, as depicted in Anglo-Saxon poetry, continues to resonate with readers today. The stories of Beowulf, the warriors of Maldon, and countless other heroes, both real and legendary, remind us of the enduring power of courage, loyalty, and self-sacrifice. These timeless values transcend cultural and historical boundaries. They continue to inspire us to strive for greatness in our own lives. Section 8. A Cultural Tapestry, Pagan and Christian Threads. The literature of Anglo-Saxon England is a rich tapestry woven from diverse cultural threads. The Anglo-Saxons, who arrived in Britain in the 5th and 6th centuries AD, brought with them a pagan heritage. This heritage was deeply rooted in their Germanic roots. However, the arrival of Christianity in the late 6th and early 7th centuries introduced a new set of beliefs and values. Rather than completely erasing the old ways, Christianity became intertwined with existing pagan traditions. This created a fascinating cultural blend. This blend is evident in many aspects of Anglo-Saxon culture, particularly in its literature. One of the most striking examples of this cultural fusion is the way in which Anglo-Saxon poets adapted traditional pagan stories and motifs to fit within a Christian framework. The epic poem Beowulf, for instance, is set in a pre-Christian world of monsters, magic, and blood feuds. Yet the poem is infused with Christian values such as humility, compassion, and the importance of seeking fame not for personal glory but for the good of one's people. This blending of pagan and Christian elements gives the poem a unique depth and complexity. It reflects the complex religious landscape of Anglo-Saxon England. The influence of Christianity on Anglo-Saxon literature is perhaps most evident in the abundance of religious poetry produced during this period. Poets like Caedmon and Cinewulf drew inspiration from biblical stories, saints' lives, and theological debates. They adapted traditional poetic forms to express their newfound faith. However, even in these overtly Christian works, traces of the older pagan worldview can still be detected. For example, the poem The Dream of the Rood presents the crucifixion of Christ in terms that would have resonated with an audience familiar with the Anglo-Saxon heroic code. The cross on which Christ is crucified is personified. It becomes a loyal retainer who grieves for his fallen Lord. This fusion of pagan and Christian elements is not limited to poetry. It can also be seen in other forms of Anglo-Saxon literature, such as prose works like the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle. This historical record, which chronicles the history of the Anglo-Saxons from their arrival in Britain to the Norman conquest, often presents events from both a secular and a religious perspective. The blending of pagan and Christian traditions in Anglo-Saxon literature is a testament to the adaptability of culture. It demonstrates how new ideas can be absorbed and reshaped to fit within existing belief systems. This process of cultural syncretism resulted in a rich and unique literary tradition. This tradition continues to fascinate and inspire readers centuries later. Section 9. Echoes through time, the enduring legacy of Anglo-Saxon poetry. The poetry of Anglo-Saxon England, though composed over 1,000 years ago, continues to resonate with readers today. These poems, with their tales of heroes and monsters, their meditations on fate and exile, and their exploration of the human condition, offer a window into a world both familiar and strange. They remind us of the enduring power of storytelling and the timeless nature of many human experiences. One of the most significant legacies of Anglo-Saxon poetry is its influence on the English language. Old English, the language spoken and written during the Anglo-Saxon period, is the ancestor of modern English. Many of the words and grammatical structures we use today have their roots in this ancient tongue. By reading Old English poetry, we gain a deeper appreciation for the history and evolution of our own language. The themes explored in Anglo-Saxon poetry continue to resonate with modern audiences. The heroic ideal, as embodied in poems like Beowulf and the Battle of Maldon, speaks to our enduring fascination with courage, loyalty, and self-sacrifice. The elegies, with their